Kimi hits 165 tokens per second through fireworks, while Claude Sonnet 4.6 has 0 published speed numbers anywhere I could find. That gap could decide whether your workflow runs in seconds or you're just sitting there waiting. Both tools are pushing hard right now, so I'm running Kimi and Claude through 5 head-to-head tests to see who actually gets work done. And there's one capability gap between Kimi and Claude that could completely change which tool you pick for your daily workflow. My name is Brian, and I'm in these tools 12 hours a day, so you don't have to be. And every number I cite is traced back to official docs and third-party benchmark data both companies publish. If you're running 50-plus AI tasks a week, picking the wrong tool costs you real hours and real money. Test 1. Web search and information retrieval. The day your AI pulls a stale stat from 6 months ago and you paste it into a client deck, you feel that immediately, and real-time search with solid citations is what keeps you from looking like you skip the research on a 20-page brief. Okay, so what I looked at is how each model actually handles live web retrieval. Kimi uses an agentic RL architecture that can call 300-plus tools in sequence, pulling from over 100 trusted sources, while Claude's approach is tool use. With dynamic filtering and its deep research mode, runs sequential searches too, but that's locked to Pro and Team tiers. I couldn't find any head-to-head retrieval accuracy data, so I can't tell you one is definitively better. The architectures are genuinely different, and that matters depending on what you need. Kimi's agentic approach is more autonomous by design, which is great if you want the model to just go figure things out, while Claude's deep research is more structured and lets you filter by domain, which is better for high-stakes research where you want tighter control over your sources. So this one kind of depends on your workflow. Web search is a tie. Kimi's 300-step agentic architecture looked like it might pull ahead, but without real retrieval accuracy numbers, I can't call it. And both models search live and cite sources, so the difference is more about style than quality. Score stays level, 1 test tied. Test 2, response speed and latency. A solo developer running an automated pipeline that calls the model 500 times a day needs to know if slow tokens are going to bottleneck the whole thing, because a 200-second wait for the first token on a batch job compounds across every single call. What surprised me here is how lopsided the data situation is. Kimi's own API clocks in at 204 seconds, time to first token, which is rough, but through fireworks it drops to 13 seconds and hits 165 tokens per second, and that's the number on screen right now. Claude Sonnet 4.6, I couldn't find a single published latency figure anywhere, so there's genuinely nothing to compare it against. Take this with a grain of salt because these aren't apples-to-apples tests. Kimi's 165 tokens per second is from a third-party provider, not the native API, and that 204-second TTFT on the direct API is actually pretty bad, so Claude might be faster or slower, and we just don't know. Anthropic recommends Haiku 4.5 for speed-sensitive tasks, but gives you no numbers to actually verify that. Speed is another tie, and that's the only fair call I can make. There are no published numbers for Sonnet 4.6 anywhere, and you can't score a race when one runner hasn't posted a time. 2 tests in, 2 tied, and neither model has pulled ahead yet. Test 3, multimodal capabilities. Say you get handed a 10-minute MP4 product walkthrough and your boss wants a written summary by end of day. If your AI tool can't read video natively, you're manually pulling frames, uploading them one by one, and stitching the context yourself. And that's an hour of work that should take 2 minutes. Okay, so this is where it gets clear. Kimi handles MP4 video natively, full stop. Claude does not support native video at all. You have to extract frames manually. On documents, Kimi reads Excel and Word files directly while Claude handles PDF and text but not Excel or PowerPoint natively. And images are basically tied since both support common formats, though Claude caps at 16 megapixels, which is actually higher resolution than Kimi's listed formats. If video isn't part of your workflow at all, this gap shrinks fast. Claude's audio transcription with speaker diarization is something Kimi doesn't mention, so if you're working with recorded meetings or podcasts, Claude has a real edge there, and that 16 megapixel image cap is genuinely better for high-resolution document scanning. so it's a clear Kimi win on video and docs, but not a sweep across every input type. Kimi takes multimodal, and the margin is real. Native MP4 support plus Excel and Word handling versus Claude's images-only approach is a meaningful gap. So Kimi goes up 1-0 with 2 tests still tied, and image quality came close to evening things out, but video support is just a different category entirely. So Kimi's ahead on multimodal, but we still haven't touched context, window handling, and reasoning depth. And those 2 tests could flip the decision entirely if you're doing long document analysis or complex technical work. Stick around because the reasoning test especially is going to surprise you. Test 4, context window and long document handling. 1,000,000 tokens sounds like a lot until your model starts forgetting things from the first half of a 300-page legal contract, because it can't actually hold that much context reliably. And if you're feeding both models an entire code base or a book-length report, the raw number matters a lot less than how well the model actually uses it. What I found here is pretty straightforward. Both Kimi and Claude sit at exactly 1,000,000 tokens, which is roughly 750,000 words, or about the length of a small library. So neither model has a raw capacity advantage. The one thing I notice is that Kimi has context caching on the API, which means repeated queries against the same large document cost less over time, while Claude's prompt caching exists but isn't prominently documented for consumer use. Same window size doesn't mean same performance inside that window, and real-world long document retrieval accuracy can vary a lot between models, even when the token limit is identical. I couldn't find direct head-to-head tests for Kimi K3 versus Claude Sonnet 4.6 on long context tasks, so the 1,000,000 token parity is real, but how well each model uses that space in practice is still an open question. Context window is a tie. Both sit at 1,000,000 tokens, and there's no verified data to separate them on real-world long doc performance. And while Kimi's context caching is a nice API-level cost advantage, it doesn't move the needle on the capability score. 3 tests tied, Kimi still leads 1-0. Test 5. Reasoning depth on technical tasks. Kimi's K2.6 scored 96.4% on AME 2026, which is a seriously hard math benchmark, and that number is on screen right now. The question is whether that translates to the kind of structured, step-by-step reasoning that actually matters when you're debugging a gnarly code base or working through a multi-step legal argument. So here's what I found, and it's a bit frustrating. Kimi's K2.6 numbers are strong at 96.4% on AME 2026 and 95% on GPQA Diamond. But those are K2.6 numbers, not K3. And there are no published Claude Sonnet 4.6 scores on the same benchmarks to compare directly. Claude's reputation for structured reasoning is well known in the community, but I couldn't find hard numbers to stack against Kimi's math scores. I want to be really honest with you guys here. Kimi's math benchmarks look impressive, but they're from K2.6, and we're comparing K3 to Sonnet 4.6 in this video, so the model versions don't line up perfectly. And Claude's structured reasoning reputation comes from community reports rather than a clean benchmark number. Calling a winner here would be guessing, and I'm not going to do that. Reasoning is a tie. No comparable K3 versus Sonnet 4.6 data exists, so I can't score it. And with 4 tests tied, Kimi leads 1-0 overall, meaning that multimodal win is the only clean separation between these 2 tools across everything I looked at. Alright, so where Kimi clearly beats Claude. Native MP4 video analysis. Full stop. Claude can't do this at all. Kimi also reads Excel and Word files directly, which is huge for office productivity workflows. And on the API side, context, caching cuts your costs on repeated queries, while through Fireworks you're hitting 165 tokens per second, with Claude's speed still a total unknown. Now where Claude clearly beats Kimi. Deep Research Mode on Pro and Team plans runs sequential searches and lets you lock down specific source domains, which is really useful for high-stakes research work. Claude also handles audio transcription with speaker diarization, something Kimi doesn't mention at all. And Claude's structured step-by-step reasoning style is a proven strength for coding and legal analysis, even if I couldn't find a benchmark number to back it up. So here's the decision rule. If you need to analyze video files or work with Excel and Word documents natively, Kimi is your pick. and the gap there is pretty significant. That 165 token per second speed via Fireworks is a real bonus on top, and if you need audio transcription, domain-locked research, or that structured reasoning style for coding and legal work, Claude is the better fit. 4 tests tied, 1 win for Kimi, and that 1 win is the whole game. If you want to go deeper on the coding side of this, I did a full breakdown called Kimi Code versus Claude Code, which is cheaper. And the cost gap there is way more dramatic than anything we saw today. The numbers in that one actually shocked me, so go check it out.